Let's go back to our Pride coverage. Lots to get through today, and CP24's Eden Debebe is standing by, giving us all the pre-parade details this morning. Eden, good to see you again. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Pride really is a protest first and foremost, and everyone has a different reason on why it's so important to them. And to chat a little bit more about their connection to Pride, I'm joined by Patrick Masse, who is both a singer-songwriter and an activist. Patrick, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me, Eden. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Let's start off by having you tell us a little bit about what Pride means to you.
Well, pride, I think, to me means acceptance, and that every human being has, in my opinion, the inherent right to be who and how they are. And as much as pride is a group effort, it's also an individual thing to people. So I think that if we get to acceptance, that's actually the truth. So that's what pride means to me.
Of course. And first and foremost, it did start off as a protest. So tell me a little bit more about the evolution of Pride into a celebration and what many are saying this year really is a return back to those more protest roots.
Well, I mean, this manufactured culture war that's going on in the world right now against the queer community is a major concern for my community and a lot of other marginalized communities, but specifically ours. So yes, it was a protest, and you know, there was brave souls like Ted North and some other people. Some of the queer history says it went back to Vancouver in 1962, and 5 brave people stood on the steps of the courthouse and stood up to be accepted. And it is a protest, and you have to stand up, and I say resist, because everybody has the right to be who and how they are. And countries were not here, or territories or states or provinces, before human beings were on this planet. So they don't dictate our birthright as human beings. So I think people need to stand up. But I also think that other communities and people that are not from, say, the queer community or the BIPOC or the First Nations, other communities need to start standing up for other communities and having our back, because we can't do it all on our own, and we need your support. So, you know, please stand up for marginalized communities. We need to see that we have your support, especially right now in the world.
Absolutely. And of course, Pride Toronto does draw a lot of people from around the world, but of course, locally as well. You spoke a little bit about the personal connection some people would have, what it means to them. Do you want to talk a little bit more about your journey in the community as an artist and how you kind of conflate the two?
Yeah, I mean, way back in 2002, I was offered a multi-million-dollar record deal in Nashville, Tennessee, and at the very last moment, they told me I had to quote-unquote sanitize my gayness, and I was their property, and they owned me, and I got up and walked out of the meeting, and that moment shaped the rest of my life. I didn't really know what a truth teller was, but I do now, and people don't like truth tellers because, you know, people look bad, but it's sort of turned into being an activist for the 2S LGBTQIA plus communities, and it's been a journey, and I'm still struggling, though, to be seen. It's when you're the first at something. Katie Lang was the first woman, and then I came out 10 years later in 2002 in country, and it's very difficult because you are pointing out the things that are wrong, and then you get labeled a complainer, and you know, and just all you're trying to do is be treated equally and fairly. So I think everybody has a connection to Pride, and I'm glad to see that they're expanding the borders. You know, there's a Sri Lankan and I think Hindi event today. There is like there's a Two-Spirit event. There's all kinds of diversity happening at Prides, and there needs to be more diversity. And speaking as a live performer, there needs to be more live performers being booked at Prides, because it's not happening as much for live performers, singers, as our drag performers and you know, some of our DJs and stuff. So we can always do better, but we can always celebrate what we are doing well now. But we are all better together as far as I'm concerned.
A beautiful balance of the two things. Patrick Masse, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Happy Pride.